Hey, what's up guys, it's the narrator here and I hope you're all having a fantastic day, and if your day is already over, well, I hope it was a great one. So this video is something a bit different from what I normally do. I wanted to talk about something that has really piqued my interest, and you've probably heard of it too since a lot of huge content creators are playing it at the moment. It's a neat little indie game called Among Us that is available on the Steam market all for free on your mobile phone. So something that I was wondering, and you're probably wondering too, is how did this little indie game that was released 2 years ago that had an average of about 7 people playing it in their first year suddenly rise up in popularity? Well, to answer that, you'll have to watch the rest of the video. And if you enjoyed the content and want to support the channel, guys, make sure to like and subscribe down below because it's free and I'll love you for it. So what is Among Us? Well, straight from the Steam page, it's a 10-player game that sees you on a spaceship with your fellow crewmates that has you doing tasks to prepare to take off into space. However, there are some imposters in the midst whose goals are to sabotage the takeoff and kill the crewmates. Now you're probably wondering, oh, this kind of sounds like Town of Salem or the card game Mafia, and you would be 100% correct. It's essentially the same thing, but a lot simpler and more interactive in a way. You see, the main goal for crewmates is to finish all of their tasks, or they need to vote off all of the imposters in the game. It sounds pretty simple, right? But there are these really cool mechanics in the game that allow the imposters to do some pretty crazy stuff to throw the crewmates completely off their trail, which I'm now going to explain. You see, on all 3 maps, there's a vent system that allows the imposters to quickly make their way around the map almost undetected to either set up for kills or just escape to a different area. On top of that, the imposters are also given the ability to sabotage a room of the map that result in the crewmates having limited vision or forcing the crewmates to do tasks that split them up into groups. You see, little tricks like this can be the difference between isolating a crew member who knows a bit too much or creating mayhem around the map to split people up and slow down their tasks. The real kicker though is what happens when an imposter kills someone and the body is found. What happens after that can be some of the most chaotic discussions that you'll ever hear depending on who you're playing with. At this stage, it turns from a silly party game where you do your tasks or try to kill the crewmates to an almost courtroom-like panel. And you know, this is where I think the game really hits its stride because it forces everyone to discuss the events of the game. Every discussion is going to be different, and you're going to find a lot of yelling and a lot of blame put on different people. And it is awesome. I think out of all of the party games that I've played recently, from Smash Bros to Fall Guys, this is the one that really takes the cake just because of the discussion panel. For crewmates to win, they need to deduce where people were during the round and put the pieces of the puzzle together to form an idea of who is telling the truth and who is not. Imposters, on the other hand, have the goal of creating discord amongst the crewmates by essentially making up alibis and lying about what they saw around the map. Hell, check out this clip I got on my friend where I screwed up and killed someone right in front of him and then tried to blame him for it.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
Where?
I was just in admin room and I watched fucking Loretto push up and shank the shit out of Kuhn. I just saw him do that.
Fucking Loretto, mate.
Loretto, I literally just watched him run up and fucking shank.
You're so full of shit.
I went down the
I
down-
just saw him as well.
Yeah.
No,
right?
this.
So there is more to that clip if you want to watch the full gameplay. I'll leave a link down in the comments below because it's my second channel. But you know, this is where the game really took the center stage on Twitch. As we all know, there are a ton of eccentric personalities and pretty tight-knit groups on there that a lot of people enjoy watching, like Offline TV, for example, and people love watching their favorite personalities duke it out in a battle of wits. And it's interesting because the game had no population whatsoever. If you check the Steam charts, for example, they were sitting at an average of 7 players during their first year compared to a whopping 1 million concurrent players just this week. And from what I recall, the game only has 4 developers too, and from their Twitter, they actually seem to be struggling to keep up with the demand of players. And from sources that I read on Reddit, it seems that the game's population has risen dramatically ever since Sodapoppin streamed the game with his friends first. A Twitch admin had apparently told Soda to play the game with his friends because he thought that he'd like it, and well, here we are. The game is honestly a content machine, but there are some gripes that I did have with it. For example, the game has no voice chat system. Most of the streamers that you watch play this game are in Discord together and they're manually muting and unmuting their mics when they play. The game itself offers a text chat box if you don't have a microphone though, but in all honesty, it's kind of tedious to type out full explanations of what you were doing during the round, and in my opinion, the game is only really fun if you have a group of friends with microphones. And that kind of brings us to our next point. If you don't have a group of people to play with, I'd say around 8 or 9 people, then the game isn't really accessible to you. You can mix and match your own rules but with less people, but I think that the best experiences that I've had on the game are with full lobbies. There are some ways around this though. There was a Discord I joined called Inner Sloth that holds public lobbies, but that was filled with kids and teenagers screeching into their mics over literally everyone, and it was a pretty crap experience, but fortunately, I did meet some people on there that are pretty cool and we play together every now and then. Unfortunately, Inner Sloth's Discord has a max cap of about 50,000 people and they reached that peak already. So yeah, there are some public Discords that you can find around the internet that you can meet people and play with, but just be warned, a lot of the people playing this are obviously going to be teenagers who don't really know any better, or kids that are trying to have fun and play the game, but since there are a lot of adults, they end up speaking over them and disregarding their opinion. On top of that, the game isn't exactly the most visually appealing, but in my opinion, that's not a big issue. At the end of the day, I personally don't care if the graphics aren't that great, because what really matters to me is the gameplay itself. But unfortunately, the game can get pretty repetitive, but thankfully, there are different maps and also the ability to change the settings to keep it fun and fresh. I should also mention that there are plans for Among Us 2 that seem to be planned for release next year. However, the developers have said that they are in the planning stage at the moment with nothing really being created, like they haven't made any models or, they haven't made any sprites for the next game, but they do plan on adding, I think it was, potentially different roles for the crewmates. It won't just be crewmates versus imposters. It'll also include like different things, like in Town of Salem, you have the witch role, the werewolf role, things like that. And they were also planning to increase the capacity of the lobbies from I think 10 to 15, and also include different game types. Apparently there are a lot of people out there who like to play hide and seek playing Among Us, so they're gonna open it up to everyone else. And when the Among Us 1 lobbies go down, they're also planning to add the source code for the game online for everyone to be able to see, so people can continue to run their own lobbies when Among Us 2 eventually does release, which is really cool from an indie developer to do something like that. So yeah guys, I just want to mention that this isn't a paid advertisement either. I genuinely have been enjoying the game a lot playing with friends, and I managed to pull a 12-hour stream the other night because I was just having so much fun playing it. And the night before that, I played for 9 hours straight on stream. It's a ton of fun, and I think that if you're on the edge about purchasing it, then I just say do it. Find a bunch of people and jump straight in because it's an awesome experience. If you want to check out the game, then make sure to check out the description down below for a link to their Steam page. And remember, if you do like the content, make sure to like and subscribe down below. And yeah, I hope you all have a fantastic day. Thank you.